Hello, my name is Al Cowan. I'm running for the United States House of Representatives seat for Texas Congressional District number 11 in the March 2nd Republican primary. Term limits, stopping out of control federal spending, and saying no to Washington, D.C. special interests are the cornerstones of my campaign. Let me speak briefly about my experience and qualifications for this position. I was born in Austin and earned a bachelor's degree in mathematics and a master's degree in computer science from the University of Texas at Austin, and I'm hoping any Aggies and other Longhorn opponents in the audience won't hold that against me. I'm a businessman, not a politician. I've started and owned small businesses and know how difficult a thing that is to do. I've worked in the private sector for large corporations such as IBM, where I was responsible for the sales, installation, and support for multi-million-dollar computer systems for Central Texas businesses. I've served my community as president of my local school board, where I was responsible for overseeing an annual operating budget of over $90 million, almost 1,000 employees, and over 7,000 students. I've served my country as an infantry officer in the United States Army Reserve. My wife Penny was raised in Midland, graduated from Midland High, and then from the University of Texas with a teaching degree. We were married in Midland in 1971 and have been married now for almost 39 years. We have 2 children, our daughter Beth and a son Alvin. Penny and I have our homestead in District 11 in Llano County in Sunrise Beach, Texas. I vote in District 11, and as such, Mike Conaway is my congressman. In short, I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman, a husband, a father, and a citizen concerned that our country is moving in the wrong direction, and with your help, want to take action to get us back on track. America is still the greatest country in the world because of our people, and while these are challenging times, Americans have met greater challenges, and I'm confident that this will be no exception. As I mentioned earlier, Mike Conaway is my congressman, and while I have no concerns about him personally, I disagree with his performance in Congress on issues that are important to the people of District 11 and to our nation. Let me address those issues in his performance. First, I favor term limits. I believe that term limits are one piece of the solution to clean up business as usual in Washington. As I've traveled around our district, many people tell me that they agree that term limits for members of Congress is an idea whose time has come. Incumbents tell us we simply don't understand how complex the job of a senator or congressman really is, and that term limits cannot work. I don't buy this argument. We make term limits work for the highest office of our land, the office of President of the United States. I believe his job is at least as complex and probably many more times so than that of an individual congressman or senator. Congressman Conaway has said that if term limits were imposed on members of Congress, that congressmen would become lame ducks from the beginning, and that the bureaucrats would run Washington. I believe the people of district deserve better leadership. In my service as a member and president of my school board, I have experienced entrenched administrators in public education. It is the duty and responsibility of elected officials to demand performance and accountability from administrators, not the other way around. As your congressman, I will challenge the broken system in Washington on your behalf. As I've said before, I'm a businessman, not a politician, nor do I believe we should have career politicians. Congressman Conaway opposes term limits, has already served 6 years, and is running for 8 or more, in my opinion, on his way to becoming a career politician. I pledge to you now that if elected, I will serve no more than 3 terms, which is 6 years. Second, fiscal responsibility. I'm concerned about runaway federal spending. Massive bailouts and hidden budget earmarks have taken our nation to the brink of bankruptcy and threaten our financial future, the future of our children, and the future of our grandchildren. As your congressman, I will work diligently to rein in this out-of-control federal spending. As a nation, we simply cannot continue to drive ourselves deeper and deeper into debt, be that from bailouts, earmarks, or a national health care plan we simply cannot afford. Mike Conaway voted for the $750 billion of spending on the bailout of the big banks and has submitted millions of dollars in earmarks during his terms in office. I oppose bailouts and earmarks and will not vote for them. Third, I'm concerned that special interests hold too much influence over incumbent members of Congress who, once elected, make re-election their first priority. Unfortunately, many good men and women go to Washington with the best of intentions, but once there, lose touch with the wishes of the very people who sent them there in the first place. That is why I will listen to and vote with the people I represent. Mike Conaway has accepted over $1.3 million of special interest money, and he voted for the bailout, in his own words, against, quote, the overwhelming opinion of his constituents. And for a bill that, again in his own words, quote, was flawed 6 ways from Sunday, everyone knows that. I believe you need a congressman who won't betray your trust and will vote against any legislation that he knows is bad, instead of trading his vote for political gain. I will be that congressman for you. My campaign is about representing all those people who believe that Republicans share responsibility with Democrats for the situation our country is in, and that replacing incumbents with new people, with new ideas and new voices is necessary to get different results. Earlier this year, Scott Brown's election in Massachusetts sent a message that a Senate seat belongs to no single individual. It belongs to the people. In this election, you have a choice for whom you vote, and the opportunity to send a message that you will hold your congressman accountable with that vote, and that business as usual in Washington is not acceptable. Elections are about choosing among candidates. When you go into the voting booth, you don't get to make up your own ideal candidate. You must evaluate the candidate's qualifications, education, experience, and position on the issues, and choose the candidate who you think will best represent you. I've told you about my qualifications, experience, the important issues facing our district and our country, and why I disagree with Congressman Conaway's performance. In voting against his constituents for $750 billion of spending for big bank bailouts, in submitting millions of dollars in earmarks, in taking $1.3 million of special interest money, in voting for legislation he knows is bad, in opposing term limits and seeking to become a career politician, Mike Conaway has become all that we dislike in Congress. If you like the way things work in Congress and think more of the same is good, you should vote for Mike Conaway and send him back to Washington. But if you think term limits should be applied to members of Congress as a way to break up business as usual in Washington, if you think spending is out of control, if you think your congressman doesn't listen to you because of political or special interest influence, if you believe in America as I do, and restoring the promise of opportunity for our children and grandchildren, then you should vote for me, Al Cowan. Term limits, stopping out of control spending, and curbing special interest on incumbent congressmen are the cornerstones of my campaign. My name is Al Cowan. I'm running for the United States House of Representatives seat for Texas Congressional District number 11 in the March 2nd Republican primary. I'm asking for your vote and will work hard to make you proud that you gave it to me. Thank you very much. This is Al Cowan, and I approve this message.